The global geopolitical environment is intensifying quickly. Serious conflict is still ongoing. When a full-scale conflict broke out between Russia and Ukraine and between Palestinians and Israelis in Gaza, it erupted virtually right in the middle of Europe. The Suez Canal is blocked in the Red Sea by the ruthless shelling of merchant ships by the Houthis. China's savagery with Taiwan. You must be well prepared for such an event. Every piece of equipment matters in a case like this. The US has started a significant upgrading program for the Thunderbolt attack planes. The aircraft that the US generals intend to continue using in battle was first flown 50 years ago. Sure they do, some may say. And why? Watch this video to find out. Simultaneously, we will disclose one worldwide issue concerning aviation. Watch the entire video then. I'm going to enjoy myself. The Army called the Thunderbolt two-bearded stick because of its single seat, twin-engine, close air support ground attack aircraft that can destroy enemy armored vehicles, soldiers, and strongholds. It was made between 1975 and 1984 and deployed, among other places, in Afghanistan and Iraq. It demonstrated exceptional durability and maximum efficiency. As an illustration, during 1991's Operation Desert Storm, 144 attack aircraft destroyed 1,200 artillery systems, 900 tanks, and 2,000 other pieces of equipment while only losing 7 machines, or 1 aircraft out of every 1,350 flights.
Pilots have been known to land the bearded fighter with a fully malfunctioning hydraulic control system.
With only one engine operating and only half of its wings and keel present, the aircraft is equipped with a 30mm gauge, 7-barrel cannon that can fire 3,900 rounds per minute. It has 11 suspension points for carrying guided and unguided bombs, as well as air-to-ground and air-to-air missiles. Put simply, they are completely safe from ground-level fire but also armed to the teeth. Titanium armor typically has a thickness of 13 to 38 m. In contrast, it ranges from 10 to 24 on the Russian Su-25 attack aircraft. The A-10 is out of date, and a contemporary air defense system will quickly suffocate it without choking on it. Attack aircraft are particularly effective when faced with little opposition, like in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, but against a formidable foe, they are rendered useless. Since the end of the Gulf War in 1991, the U.S. Air Force has been attempting to phase out the Warthog, claiming it is no longer capable of withstanding a reasonable air defense system. The public's backing and Army veterans' strong push in Congress have made it possible for the airplane to stay in service far longer than planned. In favor of the aircraft, for instance, a former Marine said, "I've heard the sound of this airplane more than once."
That sound is that of a rescue.
You are not a target if you hear that cannon sound. I hope this airplane lasts for another 30 to 40 years since I enjoy it, and I doubt a replacement will be developed. I would buy a 10th pilot a beer if I encountered him someplace, even if I was a Marine, to say thanks for saving my butt. For the F-35, American generals had very high expectations. It was intended to serve as a sort of all-purpose aircraft, taking the place of both the F-16 and the A-10. According to the Pentagon, replacing 2 aircraft with 1 would simplify maintenance, lower expenses, and ultimately result in the replacement of the outdated A-10 with a new aircraft. What does the term "replace the 10" mean? It implies that it will carry out its tasks at least as effectively. Hence, the substitute needs to be sufficient and able to do more than simply level the ground with concrete. It needs to be able to do it well enough to nail every outsider and leave its own intact. One zone and another on a battlefield, after all, may be divided by as little as a few hundred feet. 2 aircraft competed in 2018 to see which was most appropriate for the F-35's mission, the A-10. During the tests, the aircraft encountered small anti-aircraft guns, and, in the worst-case scenario, MANPADS missiles in an air defense environment with low to medium threats. High-threat missions, which would have involved adversary fighters under contemporary air defenses, were excluded from the test due to the A-10's stated incapacity to function in such conditions. Furthermore, the research claims that the F-35 is the only aircraft that can fight at all in these kinds of circumstances. It took 5 years for the competition's results to be partially declassified. That's a lot of time to write a report with 48 pages. And the rationale behind the 5-year delay is now evident. When it came to providing direct air support attacking enemy ground units to reinforce friendly ground forces, the F-35 performed worse than the A-10. It is therefore not an easy assignment for the F-35 to charge into battle like that, to tear apart the bad guys who are overwhelming the good guys, and not be frightened that the bad guys would fight back with something like a Stinger. It is good indeed. It can deflect missiles and is not afraid of many things. However, it will be painful to use a basic Soviet ZS-U-23 for the F-35. Painful? We simply don't discuss topics like the Soviet Chilka. Its demise. And the pilot won't be able to tell who's down there from an altitude of 8,000 meters, where it won't reach. Furthermore, the F-35 lacks the amazing 7-barrel weapon that can quickly turn an armored target into a sieve. Furthermore, the Senate and Congress recalled that an A-10 trip costs nothing, whereas an F-35 flight costs approximately $44,000 per hour. Therefore, common sense won out, even though the Pentagon generals were reluctant to write off the bearded guy and replace it with the F-35. It was chosen to update this iconic aircraft rather than discard it. Additionally, to extensively update it, even replacing its wings, the U.S. Army currently uses 281 A-10s. Given that airplanes are 41 years old on average, you can only imagine the amount of wear and tear these wings have seen. However, metal and humans are both mortal. Loads cause it to get fatigued, which leads to the appearance of cracks and all the associated complications. Boeing has been given a contract by the U.S. Air Force to manufacture replacement wings for the A-10 Warthog. According to the new contract, all 281 attack aircraft in the fleet would get new wings, extending their flight time until the middle of the 23rd century. 10 maintenance technicians are installing the replacement wings at Osan Air Base in South Korea and the Ogden Air Logistics Complex in Utah. The wings are rated for an additional 10,000 flying hours. The wings aren't the only problem, though. The addition of fresh GBU-39 bombs to the attack aircraft's arsenal is one of the most significant modifications. Conflict aircraft claim that the aircraft is now capable of carrying up to 18 such munitions, meaning that it could potentially hit 18 targets in a single conflict. Recall that the GBU-39 is a 130-kilogram precision-guided aircraft, bomb designed and manufactured in the United States. This, along with its tiny size, enables airplanes to carry a lot more bombs than they did previously. In addition, even with its relatively low explosive load of 93 kg, the munition can efficiently hit a variety of targets due to its superb precision. The primary benefit of GBU-39 is not just its accuracy, but also its low observability, which makes it challenging for anti-aircraft missiles to withstand a large-scale attack by such bombs. The F-15 Strike Eagle fighter bombers are among the numerous U.S. Air Force combat aircraft that have previously received training in using these bombs. Further improvements to the 10 will involve the Scorpion system, which is installed on the helmet and will enable considerably faster and more efficient identification of ground targets. Upgrades may also take care of the communication systems. The assault aircraft will likely use a new Link 16 system to communicate with other units, improving situational awareness and guaranteeing survival. To facilitate control of the intricate aircraft system, it was suggested that the cockpit have one large display rather than multiple smaller ones. However, as is evident, this upgrade does not enhance the aircraft's capability to operate in an area with contemporary echelon air defenses, which is a serious concern because the experience of the most technologically advanced conflict of our time, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, demonstrates that not even Ukraine's continuous air defense zone poses significant challenges for Russian aviation. The destruction of 2 or 3 Russian aircraft at a time during ambushes, for instance, can attest to this. In December 2023, the Ukrainian military surreptitiously brought the American Patriot system to the front lines. Shortly after, it shot down 3 Russian Su-34 bomber fighters that were dropping planting bombs on Ukrainian army positions from between 40 and 50 kilometers away. Since helicopters and drones cannot completely replace attack aircraft, Russian aviation avoids entering the Ukrainian air defense zone and operates from a distance, firing missiles and dropping guided bombs on Ukrainian troops. However, there is little discussion of carrying out the tasks performed by the attack aviation as a result, and neither the Russians, the Ukrainians, nor the Americans have air cover for the troops directly on the battlefield if they fight China or Russia. Now, let's speculate about what might happen if, in addition to the F that are about to appear in the skies of Ukraine, 10S will be engaged in combat, or Warthogs will appear in the skies over Gaza in the second place. The lack of A-10 in Gaza is thought to be due to Israel's lack of such aircraft and pilots, as well as the US's unwillingness to intervene in the Arab-Israeli war. As for the 10's involvement in the Russian-Ukrainian war, that is up for debate. Israeli militants lack a serious air defense system, as demonstrated by the Beardwalker's ability to destroy them without causing serious destruction, as is the case now when Israeli aviation destroys entire neighborhoods, resulting in significant casualties among civilians. It is extremely dangerous for a Warthog to approach the front line due to the Russians' highly effective S-Panzer air defense system. However, by using GBU-39 guided bombs from a distance of 60 to 100 km, it is quite possible to sneak up to the attack line without being noticed by Russian locators, soar sharply to a height of 5 to 8 km, drop the bombs, and then return to the airfield. Regardless, we are certain that the reliable bearded fighter still needs to defend America, and it is too soon to discard the old soldier. The 10 Beardstalker, in the words of a U.S. Army veteran, will never retire. His skill in his craft is too great. Every man on the planet longs to have the angel perched on his shoulder. The Beardwalker is here to stay. What are your thoughts on the 10 Thunderbolt's modernization and its use as a weapon in a military conflict that is still going on? Comment below with your thoughts about it. Remember to hit the bell and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new videos regarding contemporary weapons. We wish you a wonderful day and hope to see you soon. Ours.